Yeah,
make
I'm
sense?
not going to respond to emails or texts or phone calls moving forward. Yeah, so if you send me an email, I'm just not going to get it. I deleted the app, so.
Welcome to the Couch Time Podcast, where we give you tools to connect with your student and point them to Jesus. I'm Ryan, and I'm joined with
Stevie Petrin. What?
Stephen Petrin, he's a guest this morning. We're excited to have him. We're going to be talking about a few things that he's got some serious wisdom on. It's going to be great. And I'm Aaron Barnett.
Aaron is back. Let's go.
Yes.
Didn't know Aaron Barnett has been gone for a total of how long?
2 months, 8 weeks.
Aaron got to go on a sabbatical because he has faithfully served Grace Fellowship Church for 8 years.
It'll
Missed
be-
sabbatical last year.
Yep.
And
Oh,
we are.
sorry. I didn't
we
know
are
what you were doing.
He hasn't had a human
I didn't
interaction
know
in
that.
a while. We'll work on it, but we're
I don't know how to do this.
I'm glad you're back.
I'm glad to be back.
Very thankful you're back. You add structure to our Couch Time Podcast regimen. This podcast, the quality is going to go up exponentially, or just from here to here. But okay, so,
Nicely done. Well played.
but yes, welcome back. We're glad you are back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
I dream about my future sabbatical, like what I might do. So tell the people, what did you do during your 2-month rest?
Hiatus. Yeah, rest. Rest sabbatical.
Yeah, so sabbatical was a little bit unknown to me as far as, well, what should I do with this time? You know, and there's different philosophies that either churches or organizations adopt as far as what they want people to do with their sabbatical time. Some places don't offer sabbaticals, some do. I'm very grateful that Grace does. Very, very grateful that I got to. But what we chose to do was specifically just unplug, I guess, to disconnect from everything, recalibrate and reorient is what we wanted. So the only way to do that was, it's like, we are going to disconnect as much as possible from normalcy. So ministry, family, routines, school, like everything, it's like we need a different change of scenery. And sabbatical, what it offered was an extended period of time where we could establish a new routine. So it was long enough that we could do that,
Yep.
which was very helpful. So we went to Florida for the first half.
Just like vacation.
So that was very much, and I'll quote my wife, Eliza, the mindset for vacation in Florida for the first half of sabbatical was like, do the dishes tomorrow. That's the quote. Like, just do the dishes tomorrow.
I like that.
So it was very much a vacation, and then the second half was back here, and we had some other trips and special things we did. We just recently moved into a new house, so we had all kinds of exciting house projects to do, which was fun and restful. But yeah, in the gist of things, we were gone the first half, second half we were here, but still disconnected, I would say, purposefully.
How'd the kids do with it? What was that like?
Oh, they loved it. It was great. It was so they go to Calvary Christian School, the older two, and the school was phenomenal as far as helpful for us going on sabbatical. So we were able to keep them in school just remotely. So they did school every day.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was a huge blessing that we were able to take sabbatical for 2 months, keep the girls in school, and then they could come back and just jump right back in, which they've done, and it's gone well. So we had school every day. The girls loved being in Florida, the vacation mode. We went to Disney World for a day, stayed in Orlando for a week, part of being down in Florida. So, yeah, it was good.
Awesome.
Kids loved it.
What specifically did you disconnect from or unplugged from?
So the number one thing was our calendar.
Ooh.
So we didn't have, like, we had dates and plans, but there was no, like, I deleted everything off of my calendar that's normally on their ministry. So if I did look at it, which I didn't, there was nothing on it. Like, it was regular church ministry is not on there, regular small group isn't on there, regular meetings with you guys is, like, it's all clear.
Yep.
Just erase, dump everything off the plate that was normally there. So that was the biggest one. And then the second was social media.
Yep.
And then similarly was phones, like text messaging, phone calls. It's like we're not on it. And another big one I should add with the phone was we weren't documenting everything. So, hey, we're doing this fun thing with the family. Oh, I got to get a picture. It's like, no, I didn't take pictures. Like, we just were present and enjoyed doing things together. And it's like, everybody doesn't need to see this. We took a few pictures to remember and reminisce and family photos, whatever. But it's like, so it was kind of this, and it took a few weeks for me to like, my phone, I just would leave. I wouldn't even take when we went to the beach or when we went on a walk or, did these special things. It's like, just be present and enjoy. So it was kind of almost everything revolving around my phone.
Interesting.
I would say.
This is not on topic, but I'm just curious. It might be helpful for parents too. But like, so you disconnected from calendar, from social media, kind of from just like having to document everything.
Yeah.
You disconnected from work, obviously. So
Yeah,
you
work,
weren't checking email.
Nope.
That sort of thing. Is there anything that you're gonna like keep trying to keep a distance from? Does that make
I'm
sense?
not going to respond to emails or texts or phone calls moving forward. Yeah, so if you send me an email, I'm just not going to get it. I deleted the app, so. Yeah, I don't think I'll get away with that for long. I'm curious, but no, I won't do that. Yeah, there's a lot. So I haven't solidified everything, but social media is a big one that I'm reconsidering the whole point and why I even have it. And so I think I will either be off social media completely or it'll be very specific as far as why I have it and how I use it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. I like
Yeah.
it. Well, we're glad you're back.
Thanks.
And I love hearing about your sabbatical. Those are really good ideas. I'm like going to write those down for not just like my future sabbatical, but like weeks off from work as well. Of like, how can I,
Most rest.
yeah, not just like take time off, but recharge the batteries.
Yeah.
And things that are draining from me, I'm going to cut those off for even like a long weekend or a full week off, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you if you had any takeaways, big picture. That was sort of like the nuts and bolts of like what
Sure.
you did.
Yeah.
But even just like ways, what you learned or big takeaways you had about this idea of rest, sabbatical.
Yeah. So my wife and I sat and had a fire to kind of decompress a week ago, and we were talking about it, and I didn't learn anything that I didn't already know in theory or to like hear. It's like, oh yeah, that's true. I'm sure that's true, but I got to see it and witness it in my own life. So the first thing I would say that I saw was busyness is the enemy of rest. It's like, yeah, sure, I would have said that, but to eliminate all busyness in my life and to see the amount of rest I got and the fruit of the rest in my life, as well as my wife and my family, it's like I see and understand more why God wants us to regularly have rest.
Yep.
To be able to trust Him more, to be able to rest in Him and who He is and what He's doing, contentment, gratitude, joy, just fun, being able to enjoy things in a new way because of being rested, not being busy. So that was number one. The second thing, and they're all related, is my inability to rest is due to my lack of margin in my schedule and my lack of protecting the Sabbath.
Yep.
And so margin, I've been thinking through, and this goes back to one of your other questions. And I don't know parents listening to this or students, but the things that rob me of my time, that fill in the cracks between all of the structured things on my calendar, they rob me of rest.
Yep.
So the things that I want to eliminate are those things, and I want to have more disciplined structure to all of the cracks on my calendar. It's like there's purpose for those cracks between all of the things on my calendar, and I need to use them for what they're designed for, which is margin, to be able to think, to be able to process. And
So if you have a crack in your calendar and like that 30 minutes is spent on your phone, you're saying like that is something that you learn is like,
Yes.
that just drains me more than anything. I don't feel it in the moment, but
Yeah.
when I go without it, then I realize, oh, I'm able to think more
Yeah.
deeply. I'm probably able to be in more prayer, being more
Oh, yeah.
present with my
Yeah.
family, being like a lot of other things.
Yeah. I thought many times, on sabbatical, just the freedom I had in my mind to be able to process, and it's not attached to any date. It's like, oh, I have to have this thought through because I got to talk about it here, or oh, I've got to do this because we have a meeting about it, or oh, this event. I was able to just think freely, and it was more productive because there was no pressure attached to this. I've got to have this thought. So it's related to what you said, the crack. So it's a matter of scheduling things specifically for the purpose of resting and then using them for that, and not letting them fill up with little fluff that is just going to rob me of margin of rest. So, so to talk about margin, so this is another thing, and this is not final. It still is in the crock pot. So working out. So this is for me and my family. So parents, however they hear it, or Ryan, Steven, you guys. My calendar, what we landed on was creating margin is what will enable, because I can't just be off. I can't have sabbatical all the time. So it's like, how do we re-enter real life and have this? It's like, well, we have to get our calendar set. So kind of like when you're working out, you figure out what is the base as far as, weights lifting, strength that you've got, your what's the index, your body fat to muscle.
BMI.
BMI. Thank you. It's
Body
like
mass index.
figure out what that. Only once you figure those things out can you figure out progress or growth and how much weight to push yourself. So for me, margin is I have to figure out what my calendar is that's comfortable, that is realistic, and then only from that can I determine a busy season that's busier than normal, because I know what normal is and what I want it to be and where I need it to be for health. And so then flexing isn't bad. That's actually realistic for life. Things are going to come up where normally I have Saturdays off. It's like Saturday, there's going to be things that come up on Saturdays. Well, that's a flex.
Yep.
You can flex, but what is unhealthy is if you don't come back to normal.
Yep.
And so for us, we realized over the last couple of years, it's like flexing, but it's like our state of health just constantly got busier and busier and busier and busier. And it's like we didn't protect or see that we were just being overtaken. And I think that's the enemy, and busyness just takes over. So sabbatical was very much a jump start. And
I was just having this
recalibration.
conversation yesterday, actually. I was looking at my calendar for this season, this next month or two. It's like I have this same routine thing every night. Like I have a thing on a day of the week, like 4 or 5 nights of the week, every week. Like there's Wednesdays I watch Survivor. Thursdays I have community groups. Sunday nights I have Grace Students. Tuesdays I have a thing with my family. It's where I was like, this is fine right now. I was like, but I don't want to do this forever. I like having certain things that are set in stone, like community group, Sunday night youth. Like those things keep me disciplined, and they're actually good in fueling me up. But you're right. It's like you have to decide, like, okay, what is my good balance of healthiness, where I have structure, but also I have rest for freedom and time spent. So I need to even think through that more of what is best for me.
And sabbatical was very helpful for me and my wife because we were able to identify the things that helped us get rest. So the actual what can we put on our calendars and protect in the busyness of going back to real life and re-entry, that will protect, that will help us get that rest, that will have that margin. So I feel very confident now on my calendar as far as what I need to say no to in order to protect, so that, Lord willing, we can stay in a healthy place. And I think biblically that's what God wants us to do, is we need to be able to rest. He wants us to be able to be still at times. And if we can't, then there's a problem.
Yep.
We need to be still. If we can't be still, then we can't trust God.
Yep.
I don't think. And that's a huge problem if you think about the implications of that for our lives, and especially for parents with students. there's so many things. Yeah, I'll challenge you to think about it.
Great. That's helpful. Okay, so, and this doesn't just have to be for you. Stephen and I can throw out some ideas too, but making it sort of just some practical takeaway for parents as they hear about your experience on sabbatical and some of these principles and ideas. What are some things parents could use for their families to increase our rest or keep our margins clear?
Yeah, I think so much of it is, it has to be conviction. So I am so different than you, Ryan, or than you, Stephen. So it's like our margin and what we're going to need is going to be different. And it has to be based on what do you need spiritually, physically, mentally? What do you need? What do I need? If I'm not taking the time to assess where I'm at and what I need, time with the Lord, stuff that's going on in life.
And it's different when you have 4 kids, are married.
Seasons of life changes. Yeah, it's like a high school student's going to need a lot different margin than I am being, a pastor at a church, and I have 4 kids. Like, it looks different. So it comes down to answering the question, what do you need, or what do your kids need? And so for me, that is, I need time in the Word. I need time praying on my knees, literally quiet, not with kids around, not with my wife, like alone time, unrushed, unhurried. It's like, well, how does that? It's like, I need that.
Yep.
Now that I know I need that, I can schedule it, but then I have to protect it because everything will keep me from having that, But that also means that it's like, hey, my wife has to take the kids so that I can have that. And she needs that, which means I'm going to take the kids so that she can have that. For instance, if your kid needs 2 hours a week alone, when are you going to find that? I guarantee you're going to have to sacrifice to make that happen. So, but if the need's great enough, then, so I would say the best thing to do is answer that question, what do your kids need? What do you need? And then figure out how to make that happen, I think is step 1.
My advice to parents, I find I can create margin and set up opportunities for rest when I plan ahead. And
That's
I'm
a
not
good
just like winging it. And so even when this podcast is released, what do we have coming up? We've got Thanksgiving break. We've got Christmas break. And it's time, extended time outside of school, outside the regular routine, whatever.
Yeah.
Sports are paused. So fine. I like your idea of like figure out what works for you, what would be restful, plan it.
Yep.
And maybe try something different. Like,
Yeah.
how can you, instead of going on vacation or whatever, and we're just going to be busy, how do you press pause and be still?
Yeah, and I think on that note for me, what I've learned is, and I would have known this to read it or to hear it or to even say it, but to experience it, it's like just because something is good doesn't mean that it's right.
Yep.
Just because, so for example, hanging out with people, if you guys say, hey, let's go hang out, let's go play disc golf, and then the next day it's like, hey, let's have a bonfire, and then the next day it's like, hey, guys, I love you, and it's good that we spend time together, but at some point I have to say no to good things for the best thing. And so it's, for me, acknowledging what is the best, what are good, and then what is things that are not bad, but I can give my time to, and it's really just budgeting and prioritizing my time, you know.
Yeah. What else? Anything else? Any other takeaways? Advice for parents? Ways to Sabbath?
I think that the younger that people learn to rest, the more habitual it will be. Obviously, it's how it is with most things. But I think if you don't show them how to rest now, it'll be harder for them later.
Yep.
So parents, if you're not resting, if you don't have a regular Sabbath, whether that's a traditional Sunday or it's Saturday or midweek, I don't know what your work schedule is, but if there's not a time that you're literally protecting by saying no to things, it's like your kids aren't going to see the need for it.
Yep.
And I think if, relationship with God, if that's not paramount in your life, there's not a reason to rest. There's not a reason to slow down, So I think I would consider that and challenge you to really think about your schedule and structure and what you're modeling. So.
Yep. Also throw in even like what are ways. I liked your ideas of what can you detach from so that you can abide in something better. So even like a short-term detach or detox from a phone, calendar for your students. I don't know what that looks like necessarily. that stuff works really well for me, and is restful.
Yeah, certain hours of a day or certain days of the week or whatever. Yeah.
So, and not just to detach, but to replace it with something helps to detach. So, anyway, all right,
Sweet.
well, good. Well, we're glad you're back.
Glad to be back.
Thrilled you're back. Yeah, and we hope you parents have a restful week.
Like it.
And we'll catch you next time. Thank you so much. Peace out.
Hey, thanks for watching.
You can follow us on Instagram at the Couch Time Podcast.
Let us know what you thought about the podcast. Also, let us know if there's any topics or things you'd like us to cover. You can comment and email us at podcast@graceky.org.
Please like, subscribe, and share the video with other parents.